This was posted by JustAdd9409. Am I the asshole for convincing my coworker that our office was haunted? Background. Okay, so I, a 28-year-old female, work at a pretty standard office, with your usual routines and a fair share of office pranks. My coworker, a 30-year-old male, let's call him Mike. He's notorious for being a bit jumpy, so I thought it would be hilarious to convince him that our office was haunted. It all started innocently enough. I'd move things around on his desk, make strange noises when he was around, and occasionally flicker the lights. Mike started getting really spooked and kept telling everybody about these quote-unquote paranormal experiences at the office. I even added handprints on his car for extra flair. The prank reached its peak when I got a few colleagues to join in. We set up a fake seance in the conference room after hours, complete with flickering candles and eerie music. When Mike walked in, we all pretended to be communicating with spirits. The look on his face was priceless. Now, Mike is genuinely freaked out and has been avoiding the office after hours. He's even considering bringing in a medium to cleanse the place. Some of my colleagues think it was all in good fun, but others are saying I took it too far. I think I'm going to tell him tomorrow morning that I took things too far and apologize. Am I the asshole for convincing my coworker that our office was haunted? All right. I'm going to go ahead and answer it from my opinion, and I will also seek counsel from my dog. So first off, this is one of the things like I've read over, several thousand ghost stories at this point on the other channel. And these are things that I think of when people, I don't know what percentage exactly is legitimate to things like this, but these are the reasons why there's a bunch of extra stories that I'm having to read on the other channel. Because of people like you. And I'm also a little bit like you, so I totally get it. You said that this guy was already a bit jumpy, and it's apparently pretty understood, according to what you wrote here, that there's an environment to expect pranks at the office. So, I guess it depends on what generation you're from. In my generation, this would be a strengthening exercise, and not the kind that gets rid of demons. So, I would say you're not the asshole, depending on how far you take it. I mean, you've taken it pretty far with the seance and all. I kind of enjoy that myself, so I'm having a hard time being politically correct here. I'm going to stand firm in my idea that no, you're not the asshole, because one, it's already been established that there's pranks around the office. Two, he hasn't seemed to suggest that he's harming himself or other people. And three, my dog's looking at me funny. He's going, why don't you just say what you think? So, I'm going to say what I think. You are not the asshole here, unless you keep it going for a few weeks. Apologize. Can't hurt. Just for good measure, let's see how I compared to the general folks on Reddit. Not that the general folks on Reddit are a good litmus for your average person. Let's see. Curious 14595. They're a top 1% commenter. Ooh. They say YTA, which I'm assuming means you're the asshole. They said that you did this to mock him and scare him and torment him. Yeah. That's an asshole move, no matter how hilarious your cruelty think it is. I don't even know what that means. Plus, you're probably hurting his productivity. fascist. Which makes you the asshole to your employer as well. I'm not sure how you can fix this short of leaving and getting another job. Wow. Now, there's not that many people interacting with this post. In fact, there's not a single up arrow thingy on the main post. It seems like this is going to be a pile-on. However, this guy who wrote that has 6 upward arrows. So I guess everybody's agreeing with them that this person should leave their job for being particularly hilarious. Now, there are stipulations if this guy was, like, going actually crazy or, I don't know, seeing his hair color change before your eyes, that's one thing. But if he's, I don't know, over 30 or over 25 at least, I think that's still a growth opportunity. You can always ask your boss, but just for, well, better measure, let's go down and see everybody else here. Somebody whose name is deleted. It's a very good name. They say, with 5 upward votes, you are the asshole and you should be reported to HR. Well, alrighty then. GXXRDVVR. I said that wrong. Although I think it's funny. Points awarded. Doing it at work during hours was dumb. You're the asshole in this one. Well, at least I get that guy. Let's see. We have a lady. Fiona Sickles. Rather sharp name. How cruel are you, and colleagues ganging up on him. This could be considered harassment or hostile office environment. Well, hostile, I don't know. Spooky, yes. The Venezia says, this is too ridiculous for me to say anything more than not an asshole. I cry for an education system. I don't know if that's how you get one. And then we got somebody facing the other way called Blue Green, 1956. You're the asshole. Mike should report you to HR for being a complete asshole. Advice: get a hobby. Not to point out the obvious here, but it seems like their hobby might be enjoying in the pranks. Am I the asshole for not believing my boyfriend, who says he's dealing with paranormal events? And in blue, my favorite color, advice needed. I will provide this. So my boyfriend, a 21-year-old male, and I, an 18-year-old female, been dating for around 4 months. He have a few mental health-related issues, and we usually work around that. Last week he started acting distant, like he would look away from me when we're talking, things like that. Yesterday he almost fell when we were walking, started acting weird. Later he told me that he heard a scream, and that pushed him to the ground. In parentheses, I have pretty good hearing, and I didn't hear shit. Then he started telling me about when he was young he saw things fly. I don't believe in what he said, and when I told him that, he flipped out on me. I said that I needed a break to think, and now I have several missed calls, and over 100 missed messages from him. I don't know if I'm a jerk for not believing in him, but after that I wonder if he was just attention-seeking or if he's mentally ill. I don't know if I should end it for good or try to help him even though I don't believe him. Okay, this one's a little bit more interesting for different reasons. So, your boyfriend's 21 and you're 18. You've been dating for a relatively short amount of time. He have a few mental health issues. I don't know exactly what those are, but you sort of need to clarify that one, although everybody sort of has something. So he started acting distant, and then He fell while he was walking, acting weird. Well, immediately I'd like to know if he's medicated for his few mental health issues. Because that doesn't sound good. And he hear a scream, you say, and it push him to the ground. So he heard a scream and fell to the ground, so he's either, in fact, hearing spirits, or he's a little bit, whatski, and fell to the ground. You're not even attempting to engage in believing him, which is a little bit suspect, considering you've been together for 4 months. You would think that's long enough to establish some sort of, well, you know what. So, for the general premise of, am I the asshole for not believing my boyfriend who's dealing with paranormal events? I mean, yeah, a little bit, actually. If you were with somebody for 4 months, you're acting a little bit, well, ununderstanding, and I expect a little bit more after that amount of time. Well, hell. I'm overly compassionate, so I expect that on day 1, so I'm just going to put a hard yes, you're the asshole. And now we go down to the comments to see how I compare. Previous Lab 3846. Late teens, early 20s is a typical period when schizophrenic, schizoaffective symptoms start to make themselves known. He needs to get evaluated by a psychiatrist, with 45 people agreeing with him. He's not wrong, but I'd like to think there's alternative solutions for everything. So I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend that, especially if that's something he's terrified of. Gotta see what's going on more, but let's go down. By deleted, my favorite guy. He's likely experiencing a psychiatric break with hallucinations, otherwise known as a psychotic break. He needs to seek help as soon as possible. Here are the symptoms of a psychotic break from reality. Difficulty concentrating, an unexplainable drop in grades or performance at work, neglecting personal hygiene and self-care, self-isolating, experiencing strong emotions, having no emotions. And these are the symptoms of hallucinations caused by a psychotic break. Hearing things that aren't there, seeing things, okay, so he's going through all these things, and people agree with him. And he's stating relative facts, so I got nothing to say there. And his twin, another deleted. I have a daughter with schizophrenia. What he's experiencing sounds quite similar to what my daughter experiences. Luckily for my daughter, she has a strong support group, and it's been 10 years since her first experience. Well, hallucinations and such. She knows what is real and what isn't, and for the most part lives a regular life with a good job and a good boyfriend. Sounds like your boyfriend is not in a good place. He needs help far more than you're capable of giving him. I know it hurts, but I would suggest breaking up. Well, I would suggest breaking up because you were a little bit, well, disconnected from his well-being in general. And we scroll down just one more. He's hallucinating, and the problem is much too large for you to deal with. Please break up with him. This isn't good or safe for you. And I'd like to put up my little counter-argument here is you don't have to break up with him if you don't want to. You can help assist him with anything that it is that he needs in order to make a bridge toward the outcome that hopefully you want to have happen, which is his best interest. If you don't want his best interest in mind, then you probably should, you know what. That's enough of the comments on that one. I made my point. Am I the Asshole? By Impressive Ant 827. Mystery at home. Cash and valuables disappearing without a trace. Need advice. Hello, friends. I have a story, and I'd love your thoughts, ideas, and analyses. I live with my grandparents and my sister. Over the past 2 years, strange things have been happening at home. Cash has been disappearing mysteriously. My grandparents only use cash and don't have cards. Yet, the money keeps vanishing. It doesn't stop there. Some of my precious jewelry and money have also gone missing. Occasionally we hear strange noises and see shadows or notice movement from the upper floor. To solve this, we installed cameras inside the house. We placed money in front of them to monitor it, and surprisingly, the money disappeared again, but nothing showed up in the recordings. Well, that's a little bit confusing right off the bat. How's it disappearing if you're not seeing anything move? Anyway, this situation has caused many issues and arguments and false accusations within the household. I don't want to contact the spirit world or dive into anything supernatural directly. I'm just seeking advice or rituals to figure out if this could be related to something paranormal like a ghost or magic. Any ideas or suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Okay, there's some conflicting things happening here. 1. Where do you live? Because as far as I know, ghosts only use money in Asia, and their money is printed on burnable paper. Never heard, and I've read well over 2,000-3,000 ghost stories in my time. Daily. Not once have I heard something about physical money disappearing. So this sounds a little bit strange. The fact that you said that you put a camera there and put money in front of it and it disappeared even though you saw nothing on the camera, that needs some more explanation. I mean, if it's there in the camera and you walk in and it's still there, then where's the money missing from? Well, there could always be a ghost with a problem. The problem that can only be solved by money. Let's go down into the comments and see what they say, because I'm a little bit lost on where the am I the asshole comes into play here. Forget Ghostbusters, says Enchanted Babe 76. You might need a cash detective. Or maybe just put up signs that say free money, please don't take. Worth a shot. Well, this is a strange little hole in the internet. So we're going to go with whoever's taken that money is the asshole. And you're a little bit of an asshole, and I don't know exactly why. Am I the asshole for making my boyfriend think that our apartment is haunted? My boyfriend and I had been together 10 months. It's been great, but his humor is sometimes overly asshole-ish, and it ends the sentence with, "Babe, it's just a joke." I told him I sometimes see shadows, etc., because I actually do. Never scares me. I've seen paranormal things since my early childhood. And since that day I told him I see shadows, I can tell he's a little freaked out, even though he said he wasn't. I snuck and turned on the kitchen light, and he came back freaking out. I've moved a couple of things around and then put him back. Not sure how long I'll keep going, but I'm just going to end with, "Babe, it's just a joke." Well, I don't believe in doing the quote-unquote wrong thing, and yet I do believe in vengeance, which is already at odds with itself. So if he's truly one that has an asshole-ish humor, then I would say he would appreciate what it is you're doing. Maybe even give you some sort of a medal or spend a day building you a pedestal outside in order to hand you that medal on. That's what I think. People underneath in the comments seem to agree with me. Deleted, my favorite person, is ESH, which I don't know what that acronym means. He's a dick. Why would you move in with him instead of dumping him? I disagree. ShyXGL. Not the asshole. Hilarious. Let us know how he takes your joke. Also, remind us not to fuck with you, sis. Agree. ESH again. What does that mean? I should probably know this. He shouldn't have done that, but you shouldn't, or you should, sorry, monitor's far away. But you should have literally just had a talk with him instead of slowly making him go crazy. It's not funny, nor is it cute. Disagree. It's a little bit funny, and it's a little bit cute. And somebody underneath that says, oh, it's the OP here. We have had talks, and it's been maybe 3 or 4 days since I told him about the paranormal. All right. Snoo Recipes 9891 says, not the asshole, but this, it's just a joke thing. It's toxic and gaslighting. I guess I'm just too old-fashioned to agree with that. Deleted, my favorite guy again. ESH. Esh. Two immature, passive-aggressive assholes, and at least you're compatible. There we go. That's a very well-rounded, honest answer. And I would say, everybody's an asshole once in a while. And if you put 2 and 2 together, and it's a happy combination, who am I to step in between that? Who is anyone to step in between that? Am I the asshole for summoning a time-traveling, shape-shifting, dimensional-hopping demon with my microwave? And now the fabric of reality is collapsing, and my family says I ruined Thanksgiving. Love that title. Advice needed, in blue. Okay, hear me out. This is gonna sound like something from a fever dream, but I swear to you it's real. So, I, a 24-year-old male, was just trying to heat up a frozen pizza. You know, the basic stuff. Everybody's done it. But then something weird happened. I've been into paranormal stuff for years. I came across this random sketchy website selling enchanted kitchen appliances. Yeah, I know, red flags all over the place. But I was bored and I thought, hey, maybe this microwave could make my pizza taste better. So I ordered this mystical microwave from some shady seller who promised that it could bring you closer to the mysteries of the universe. At the time, I thought it was just a scam, like those weird energy crystals people buy. I like this post. Fast forward to the day the microwave arrives. I plug it in, slap my frozen pizza in there, hit the buttons, and boom. The microwave starts flashing like a strobe light, making the sound that was like a mix between a whale song and a 100-year-old grandfather clock. Suddenly, there's this giant ripping sound, like reality itself was getting torn open. And then, something appeared in my kitchen. A giant, shifting black mass with glowing red eyes. It was the demon, and it didn't just look like a demon. It was changing. Like every time I blinked, it was a different version of something horrible. And sometimes it was an evil version of my mom. Sometimes a giant snake with hands. Sometimes, well, it's hard to describe. Kept flickering between dimensions like it couldn't decide which one it belonged in. So yeah, I accidentally summoned a demon with a microwave. And that's when everything started going downhill. This demon, let's call it Zorvok, because I think that's what it said it was called. It claimed it was some kind of interdimensional traveler who's been trapped in the fabric of reality for aeons. and the microwave was the perfect vessel to bring it back. Oh, and it also mentioned something about being the true ruler of Thanksgiving. Weird flex, but okay. Agreed. Naturally, I panicked. I tried to unplug the microwave, but every time I touched it, reality started to glitch. The walls of my house started melting into these strange, impossible landscapes, like I was standing on the edge of the universe. Zorvok, being the demon god that it is, was like, "Nah, I'm taking over now, human." Started warping everything around me. The clock started spinning backwards. My kitchen became a battlefield with flying turkeys and mashed potatoes, and my family walked in. Just in time to see me yelling at a demon who's now shapeshifting into my dad and telling me I was, quote-unquote, too weak to control the toaster oven. Aren't we all? Now, my mom thinks I completely lost it. My dad is demanding that I, quote-unquote, fix the demon situation. My younger brother is freaking out because the walls have turned into a swirling vortex, and our pet hamster now has 6 legs. Meanwhile, Zorvok is just sitting in my living room watching everything unfold like it's some kind of reality show. And here's the thing, I can't fix it. The demon has hijacked the microwave and turned it into a portal machine. Every time I try to turn it off, the microwave opens up a rift to another dimension, and worse creatures keep coming through. My family is yelling at me to solve the problem, but it's literally like asking someone to fix a black hole by telling it to calm down. No one understands that I'm stuck in a literal interdimensional war and Thanksgiving dinner. It's like the least of my worries right now. And to make it worse, everything keeps getting weirder. I can hear Zorvok plotting in the background, talking about consuming the space-time continuum and becoming the new ruler of alternate realities. Oh, and it's wearing my dad's face as a mask now. That's how deep in this mess I am. So now, instead of Thanksgiving dinner, we have a demon overlord and my family arguing about whether or not I'm responsible for the time collapse that's currently ruining reality. So, am I the asshole for summoning an interdimensional demon with my microwave, causing reality itself to glitch, ruining Thanksgiving? And now my family wants me to quote-unquote fix it, even though it's literally too late and the world might end in the next 24 hours. This post was to make fun of the fact that 90% of the posts on here are made by ChatGPT, and mine as well. It's just easier to tell. Damn. That was made by ChatGPT. That's very disappointing, because I was invested in you. Not because it was the truth, but because it was entertaining. On to the next one. Damn it. Am I the asshole for wanting to quit my job as a lawyer and become a ghost hunter? I, a 45-year-old male, have been working as an attorney for 15 years. While the job has provided financial stability, I've recently found myself completely burned out. A few months ago, I had an experience in my house that I can't explain. It was late at night and I was alone when I heard footsteps upstairs. At first, I thought it was just the house settling. But then I heard what sounded like whispering, soft but distinct. When I went to check, the air felt heavy, almost electric, and I swear I saw a shadow move across the hallway even though no one else was home. I tried to brush it off, but strange things kept happening. Objects moving slightly from where I left them, cold spots in certain rooms, even my pet acting unsettled. I became obsessed with trying to figure out what was going on, which led me down a rabbit hole into paranormal research. The more I learned, the more I felt drawn to it. Now, I can't shake the idea that ghost hunting is what I really want to do with my life. The problem, my entire family is against it. I'm the primary breadwinner, and they think quitting my stable legal career for something as unconventional and, let's be honest, unproven financially, as ghost hunting is reckless and irresponsible. They say I'm being selfish for putting my personal passion above our financial security. But here's the thing. I've always wanted a job where I can make people happy. Lawyers, no matter how good they are, usually end up making people sad. It's the nature of the job. But as a ghost hunter, I could help people connect with deceased loved ones, give them closure and bring them real happiness. That's something I've never been able to do as an attorney. I understand my family's concerns. I've no experience in ghost hunting beyond my research, and it would be a huge risk. I don't have a clear plan for making a living from it yet, but I also feel like I've spent years doing what's practical, and now I want to do something I love. And realistically, if ghost hunting doesn't work out, I could always return to being an attorney. It's not like my degree or experience will disappear. So, am I the asshole for wanting to take this leap, even if it means putting my family in a difficult position? Yes. Yes, it does. Does it sound cool to be a ghost hunter? Yes. I don't know exactly which type of attorney you are, but perhaps you could reach your same goal of wanting to make people happy by maybe changing to be a defense attorney for people who are innocent. What do I know? Seems like if you stopped somebody from going to jail who doesn't deserve to go to jail, you'd make them pretty happy. And then, during the nighttime hours after your dog has gone to sleep and your wife is watching Netflix, take a little stroll to the cemetery. Talk at it. And try a couple little different things. Take out a device if you have to. Or just use the old thing above your shoulders, Try to make a connection. You spent how much time getting certified to be a lawyer, and you spent how much time trying to be a ghost hunter. So just put those couple of things together and consider it a little bit, better. Out of my own curiosity, I go to the comment section. With my cigarette. Lambs in English says, I don't know why you think hunting ghosts will make anyone happy, including you, but this reeks of midlife crisis. That's fine, people have them, and the key is to not shred your life for them. That was a good bite-sized nugget of advice. Let's see. Gastropod is being typical. Starlight Baby X. You're not the asshole for wanting to follow your passion, but your family isn't wrong for being concerned either. Leaving behind a stable career for something financially uncertain, especially when others rely on you, is a huge risk. It makes sense that they'd push back. That said, burnout is real, and staying in a job that drains you isn't sustainable. If ghost hunting genuinely excites you, maybe there's a middle ground. Start small. Do it as a side project. See if it gains traction and build a financial plan before making a full switch. That way you're not putting your family in a tough spot while still exploring what makes you happy. Passion is important, but so is responsibility. If you can balance both, you won't have to choose between them. That is 100% correct. And out of the rest of these comments, I will pick the top 1% commenter. Nalaldagif20, or NGAF. Pretty sure that stands for something nasty. Sounds like you may have a midlife crisis. You're the primary breadwinner and want to throw away your career for something that will lead you to have no income. Well, maybe he's gluten-free. I'm going to cut you off right there. Next one. Am I the asshole for still being no contact with my brother after something that happened 4 years ago? Me, 20 years old, and my brother, James, 25. We were really close before this, but I don't feel safe around him. I haven't felt safe around him after what happened. So rewind to 4 years ago. I was at James's house or apartment for the summer, and at that time my brother was stressed out and he was an intern. He was working to become a doctor, worked a part-time job on the side, had bills to pay, and then on top of that had to take care of a 16-year-old me. It was hard, and I understand that, but that doesn't make what he did understandable. So around April of that year, his rent increased by a lot, so he got another part-time job. One day after a long night shift, he came home and was really tired and had to go to his second job. I could tell he was stressed out, so I made him some dinner. I left dishes in the sink because I also was very tired, and I went to sleep and woke up the next day to him yelling at me to wash all the dishes before he got home. He was leaving for work already and did everything he needed to do in the kitchen. I'm guessing the dishes just bothered him. Trigger warning. Bloody details coming up. The little blood sign. Or an interesting colored drop of something. I was like, okay, and was walking back into my room to go back to sleep like any normal person would, because I could just do it later. Then he goes batshit crazy, yelling at me that I'm lazy and can't do anything, and I'm always in my room 24/7. I was so confused, so I was like, are you okay? And he saw that as a form of disrespect and slapped me. Context, my brother's a gym rat who plays football and boxes. Yeah, that helps paint the picture more. So crazy, I know, so I'm like, what the fuck, you just hit me, and screamed at him, and he said, well, STFU, and I continued yelling at him, and he hit me and slaps me again. But this time he busted my lips and my teeth bit the top part really hard. Deep. And same with my bottom lip, so blood's dripping everywhere, and my brother says, clean this mess up. I can't forget those words to this day. So I proceeded to have a panic attack for about an hour and patched myself up. By that time, my lip was really swollen. Looked like I did the Kylie Jenner lip trend. I packed up all my things and left, and I went back to my parents' house, because again, I was there for the summer. I get home, I don't tell my parents what happened, but later in the day, my phone starts blowing up and my brother's texting and calling and leaving voicemails, trying to reach me in any way possible. Seems like one way, but okay. I blocked him on everything, and after he couldn't reach me, talked to my parents and told them what happened. And they, of course, were mad at him, but eventually got over it. After a month or so, I let him know that I was not going to contact him again, and that he should really leave me alone and he should stop trying. I would never trust him or feel safe around him ever again. I haven't contacted him since, but here comes the problem. This year I finally got an internship at a hospital I've always wanted to work at since I was a little kid. I was so excited I held a party for myself, put it all over social media, and invited all my family except for my brother, of course, and well, he found out. I'm not sure who told him yet, but I'll figure it out. He got a hold of my social media, and not sure who gave it to him, but he contacted me using a fake account and asked why he wasn't invited. I told him I hadn't talked to him for the past 4 years, and why he would expect me to ever say anything to him again. He said because he's family and he's hoping that I'd forgiven him after what happened, and that I'm being too immature and just needed to let him celebrate me. He said that being an intern was a big part of his life too and could give me advice. I told him I didn't want anything from him and that he should leave me alone. I blocked him. But I've been getting calls from other family members saying that I shouldn't hold a grudge against family, need to forgive him for a mistake he made. It's got my whole family divided and I'm not sure what to do. Sorry if this is really hard to read. I'm still, in shock a little bit. Well, you're not necessarily an asshole. Your brother certainly was an asshole. However, time moves on, people change. It sounds like your brother is under a huge amount of stress and did something pretty unforgivable. That doesn't mean that you can't still move on with that being understood. So, it just gives you a new chance to draw your line and make him respect that line. And then you both can move forward while you both actually gain respect at the same time. And then you don't have to have something small and dark growing and eating away at you as life goes on. Friends, jobs, all that kinds of stuff leaves, but as long as your family's alive, it's a direct connection that you don't really want to just pull the plug on. So, you're not an asshole, but you do need to, need to move forward. And it seems like he was trying to do that as well. So give him a chance, but really dig that line down. Last post of the evening. This is by Cookie Kuchisabishi. Very nice. Am I the asshole for being upset that my grandmother's ashes will be buried in the same grave as my mother? My grandmother was not a pleasant woman, whether it was malice or simply lack of empathy. She was very abusive toward my mother during her childhood and very unsympathetic to childhood me, which contributed to my BPD. I just found out that she wrote into her will for her ashes to be interred into the same plot as my mother, who predeceased her and father. I feel like this shouldn't upset me, but it does. It feels like my grandmother still has a hold over her even after death. I'm not religious or superstitious or believe in the paranormal, by the way. There's the word paranormal. I just realized the last post completely had zero relation to the paranormal. I apologize. So, am I the asshole? I'm going to end this very non-apex. I don't know. And I have to go. See ya.